Hello everyone, welcome back to the G-Bon Kitchen. You're here with Chef Martin in our wellness cooking segment here on Facebook. Today we're going to be doing something a little traditional and a little non-traditional. Today we're going to be doing collard greens, but instead of stewing them up with either like a ham hock or some neck bones, we're going to stew them up with some coconut milk. This is something a little more Caribbean, and we'll be serving that up with just some sauteed chicken. We're going to do it, just season the chicken, throw it in the pan and cook it, and use that, make that nice little combination for us. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and so today we're going to make a broth out of the coconut milk and with some onions and some other aromatics, and we'll get our flavor from that. So we're going to go ahead and start getting everything ready. Start with an onion. The onion's going to caramelize in that pan first and get us a lot of flavor up in there. Okay, so let's get that going. Go ahead, get it peeled off. That outer layer out there. Don't want any of that paper in there. Now, up here in the States, like most times you'll see collards are good classic of Southern cooking, and they'll be a side dish for usually for dinner or something. But down in the islands, they cook a lot of different greens, and they'll actually be served for breakfast with either like some kind of biscuit or dumplings. Okay, so get this going. Okay, nice and chopped up over there. And we'll put a little more in there, just because we want a little more flavor up in there. On our plate to get ready to go. We're going to get all our vegetables chopped up, so we'll have them ready when we need them. We're going to add a little bit of tomato to this as well, and that'll help just develop more flavor in the broth that we're using. So this we're going to cut up, try and cut it up as small as you can, just because we want it to really cook down and turn into like a paste that will then mix with the coconut milk. Nice and chopped. Get that up there. There we go. And let's see. And then for later, we're actually going to finish it off with a little bit of red onion. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a little chop right now. It's just so we have it ready for us. Okay. Let's see if we get this off over here. This one's being kind of tough. That's okay, we'll get it. Put it back together, get us all ready to go. Okay, now this we're going to put it on the plate, but we're going to go ahead and save it for later, just because that'll come at the end of our dish. So now we're going to start getting our broth ready. We got a big flat pan heated up. You can use a pot too if you want. And we're going to go ahead and put in just about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil or canola. It's really going to not make too much of a difference. Get that nice and hot. And then we're going to go ahead and throw in our white onion. Okay, so we got that in there nice and sizzling. Developing its flavor. We'll get it nice and starting to brown off real quick for us. Okay, so to that, we're going to go ahead, we're going to add about a teaspoon of garlic. And we're going to get our tomatoes in there. Okay. We'll go ahead and give that a little stir. Let it mix up. Go ahead and break up those tomatoes a little bit more just to make sure that they break down and we don't got big pieces of skin in there. Okay. Got that coming. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little little cover, let it sit there and cook down. I got it down on low, so it'll just slowly cook all that. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start getting our carrots ready. Now, if you're using fresh ones, always use at least double of what you think you're going to need, because just like any other green, once you cook it from fresh, it'll break down and you'll have nothing left. So we'll go ahead and start getting a bunch of these. I'll pull out the stems. They're definitely going to be tougher than the rest of the leaves. If you want, you could always just cut them up small and saute them up first, and then throw the leaves in later. So we'll get these. I'm just going to roll it up a little bit just so it's easier to cut. I'm going to go ahead and break these down. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it sideways and cut it down lengthwise, just so I don't have any 5-inch pieces of collards up in there. We'll go ahead and get a couple more of these up in here. And I'm just going to rip off the thicker part. Break these down. And let's get us one more. Okay. And we'll just go ahead and fold it up, chop it up, and then churn it. And we're good to go. Okay, come back over here, check out our tomatoes and onions. See they're cooking down nice. You'll see that the tomatoes are really starting to break down up in there. Okay. So now we're going to add, just for a little flavor, we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw some thyme in there. If you got first time, use it. If not, we're going to go ahead and put in about a teaspoon of it. So go ahead and get that in there. And just to spice it up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and throw in some pepper flakes. If you don't like it spicy, don't put the pepper flakes in, but it'll be a good combination of that spice, and then the coconut milk that we're putting in there will tone it down a lot. So get that mixed in, let those spices, let that heat start releasing all the oils up there. And up in here right now, you can really smell the thyme and then the chili flakes. Okay, now that I got it, the tomatoes are pretty much broken down, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back up. And I'm going to go ahead and get our collards in there. And don't worry if they're coming out of the pan, just go ahead and pack them in there, because like I said, they're going to break down and release all their water, and you won't have to worry about it. So, I'm going to get these in there. Pack them all in. Pack them all in. Don't worry, when we come back, it'll be half of that at least. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a cover, let them start steaming up, and get rid of this. In the meantime, I'm going to get ready. We're actually going to throw a little bit of yellow squash in there, more towards the end, just to give us some more color and a little more variety. It'll make it look more appealing for you. So go ahead, get rid of that. And we're just going to go ahead and cube this up real nice. Now, yellow squash will take longer to cook than anything like zucchini, so it is going to need a longer cooking time. But it's going to be great in there. Okay. There we go. Get that all up on there. Okay. Clean up that cutting board a little bit. And not quite yet, but we're going to go ahead and get our coconut milk open and ready to go, so when we need it, we can just go ahead and pour it in. Now, when you get coconut milk, it's usually good to shake the can a little bit before you open it, because sometimes it'll separate. The fats will float to the top, and then you'll have a big chunk of solid coconut milk on one part of the can, and it'll just be clear liquid on the bottom. So go ahead, open that up a little bit. So now it's there, ready to go when we need it. Okay, in the meantime, to go with this dish, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to saute up some chicken for ourselves. Just have a ready little side dish, a little combination to add some protein to this meal. And so I just got some chicken breast here, cubed up, simple. I'm just gonna go ahead and season it lightly. We got some of our salt-free adobo here. So let's see. We're gonna put for like a pound of it, we're gonna put about 2 teaspoons up in there. Let me get that going in there, get it nice and seasoned up. And go ahead and stir it up. This is something good to do ahead of time. Let it sit and wait. Let all those seasonings get absorbed by the chicken. Okay. Okay, I got that all nice and mixed up. And to that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to coat it with a little bit of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is great because it'll absorb a lot of the liquid and everything and solid and trap all those juices on the inside. This is something they use a lot in Chinese cooking, just to seal it in and preserve the texture of the chicken. So go ahead and get about a tablespoon up on there. Maybe put a little bit more. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and stir it in, and that can sit in there. Make sure we get them all pretty nice and coated. Okay. Okay, now while that's sitting there waiting, we're going to go ahead and check on our collards, make sure they're going good, and get our pan ready for our chicken. So let's see, just a second here. So let's check on the collards. You see they're already starting to break down over here. Now the sauteing them up first, that's going to help speed up the cooking process. Because as many of us know, it takes a long time to get those collards to break down. So now that we got them sauteed up, we're going to go ahead and add about a cup of some low sodium chicken stock. Okay. And we'll go ahead and give that a nice stir. Again, if there's any of the tomatoes browning on the bottom, we'll stir that around and get all those juices and all that flavor off the bottom of the pan. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Give it another little stir up in here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put our yellow squash up in there. That in there. We'll stir that in a little bit too, just to make sure it gets coated with all that flavor up in there. Okay, get those in there. And then I'm going to go ahead, cover it again, and I'm going to put it on, let it cook on medium for about another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get our other pan hot here to get ready for our chicken. So we're going to go ahead, once this gets nice and hot, we'll go ahead and add about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of oil. You don't need too much, because we're just sauteing it. We're not deep frying it or anything like that. We're just going to saute it, and we just want enough so it doesn't stick to the pan. So we will go ahead, we're going to let this get nice and hot. Everything's cooking over there. We'll get us another set of tongs over here, just so we're not mixing our vegetable tongs with our raw chicken tongs. And actually, we're going to use okay, you want to wait. Don't be tempted to put the chicken in there before the grease is hot, because it will go to the bottom of the pan and it will stick to the bottom of the pan. And that's something we definitely don't want. We want it to be nice and hot, Not smoking, but nice and hot. So it sizzles when we put it in there and starts sealing it. And that way it's going to seal the chicken and to itself and not to the bottom of the pan. Okay. We'll wait. If you want, you can always go ahead and put one piece in first and check and see if it's ready. Go ahead and put the rest of them in. See? Not ready. We'll give it another minute or so just to heat up. And if you think it's getting too hot when you put it in, don't worry too much because putting in the chicken is going to bring down the temperature of the oil. So don't be too scared about that. Okay. See, go ahead and try again. See, we're getting a nice little sizzle up in there now. Not too much, but you are getting a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start putting some more of these in there. Make sure we don't crowd them. We definitely don't want to crowd them. We want to let them sizzle on their own. So we don't want them to stick together, and we don't want them to boil either. Or steam themselves up in there. Okay. A bunch of these in there. And don't worry, if you got a lot, you can go ahead and cook it in 2 batches. Just pull them out, put them on a plate with paper towels, and you're good to go. And always check if your stovetop is uneven, like most stovetops are, and you'll see the grease is pooling over on one side. Go ahead and pick it up when you're putting them in, and just spread it around. And so when you put in those new pieces of chicken, they got the hot grease underneath them. Okay. And maybe we'll get one more piece in there. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to let this cook. We're not going to mess with it until it's ready. Once you see it start getting golden brown around the sides, and it pulls off easily from the bottom of the pan, then we're going to go ahead and flip it. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get a bowl ready with some paper towels, just so I have it ready. When I'm ready to pull it out, we can go ahead and throw it right in the bowl. Okay. Get that nice and ready. And then we'll go back and check and see. You see those first ones are coming off nice and brown, and they pop right off. And that cornstarch is also helping it to not stick. Because what it's doing is sucking up all that extra liquid, which is that water that breaks through the oil and makes it stick. Go ahead and start getting these going. Yep. You get any that are stuck together, now's a good time to go ahead and either with a fork or with your tongs, go ahead and split them up. Just to make sure they cook evenly all the way through. Okay, see that's coming up nice. We'll go ahead and check in our collards over here. Okay, they are cooking down nice. Okay, now about halfway through the cooking time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in our coconut milk. We will go ahead and put in about, I would say 3/4 of the can. It'll be about a little bit over a cup. And we will go ahead and give it a nice stir, let it mix in. And all that broth with the tomatoes and the onion is going to flavor that coconut milk up. milk you definitely don't want to boil because it will have a tendency to split. It'll break just like regular milk. You can still eat it, it'll just form little globules of fat. Okay, get that back on there. Come over, check out our chicken. Get any of the bigger pieces, go ahead, flip them over to another side. This is a good spot right here if you wanted to throw in some red peppers or something, just add some more vegetables. Be great flavor added up in there. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and start pulling out the smaller ones. Give those bigger ones a little bit longer chance to cook. Okay. Pull that out to this. Okay, now we got all those out, we're going to go ahead and throw another batch right in the pan. Get it nice and spread out. You guys can't smell it now, but it smells real good in here. Just with all the aromas from the collards and that coconut broth we got going, plus this chicken. There we go. I got one little piece in here that I need to get out. I got one cooked piece. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and just pat down our paper towels on that, just to make sure we get off as much of that extra oil that we don't need. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and throw another paper towel on there, just so I'm ready for when that next batch is ready to come out. Okay. And same thing, we'll just wait. The second batch will usually not stick as much just because that pan is already sealed with the oil. Those all nice and flipped. They're already getting a real nice color. Nice and flipped. The chicken's definitely the quickest part of this meal right here. The collards, depending on how soft you like them. Some people like them real soft. I'm definitely one that likes a little bit of crunch to my vegetables, so I tend not to cook them that long. We got that chicken going in there. We'll let that go ahead cook. Checking our collards over here. See, that's coming up real nice. They're starting to break down. And you'll see that, you remember we started off with those collards were all the way up to here, and now they're not even halfway up the pan. And the longer you cook them, the more volume they're going to lose. Okay. Go ahead. Do a little mix up, make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom of the pan over there. There we go. Go on just another minute or so, just to make sure they're cooked all the way through. You can also do this when it's a whole chicken breast or thighs. And just pat it down with that cornstarch at the beginning, and then go ahead and lay those in whole pieces. One more minute over there. In the meantime, just to decorate our chicken a little more, I'm going to go ahead and chop up some fresh scallions. Just to toss it in, add a little more color to that, and a little bit of that fresh bite to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Remember, like I always say, you can go ahead and save the root ends, and go ahead and replant these, put them in water, and they'll grow up another scallion for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Give these a nice fine chop. I'm just going to go and toss these at the end with the chicken. Give it a nice little boost of color up in there. Okay. There we go. Now, same thing over here. I'm going to go ahead and get all of the dumb pieces first, all the ones that are skinnier, smaller. Now that you see we still got like all this nice brown on the bottom of the pan, we're going to pull that off of the bottom of the pan and make a little sauce out of that. So before it starts burning, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss these scallions in there just real quick, and then I'm just going to add like a little bit of water. If you have chicken stock or anything, you could throw that in as well. And you just get in there, get that in there, get the water in there. And you're just going to take either your spoon or your tongs and go ahead and spread that water on the bottom of the pan. And it's just going to pull off all that brown, good, crusty flavor in there. And just because like a lot of that brown in there was part of the cornstarch and everything, it will thicken up the liquid. So we're just going to go ahead and stir that up in there. Make sure we get all that brown off the bottom of the pan. And that's just more juice and flavorful goodness that we're going to add up into our chicken dish. So, we got that ready. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our paper towels. And now that I got all those brown juices and those scallions in there, I'm just going to pour that, toss it right up in with the chicken. Okay, goes all up in there. Heat, and then I'm just going to toss it up in that chicken and let the chicken soak it up in that flavor. Okay, so now we're good to go with this. Now that the collards are getting close to done, I'm going to go ahead and throw in that red onion. That red onion is just going to give a nice fresh bite to it, to the collards, and a little bit of color to it. We're just going to go ahead and toss those in there real quick. And this is something you want to do like right at the end of cooking. Just so those onions don't cook too much and they're still got that fresh taste to them. So we'll just get those in there. Stir them up in there. Pull it off the heat. And we're ready to go ahead and serve these up. If you like your collards real soft, go ahead, turn it down low, and let them cook up a lot longer. Until you get to that desired consistency. Okay. So let's go. Now we're ready to serve. Let's move on back over to the table over here. And get our plate going. I hope we got us a taste tester today. I don't know, I haven't seen Miss Ebony for a while, but okay, give me 1 second. Let's see. Uh-oh, here comes someone knocking at the door.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah, there's someone around here that can smell some food cooking. So let's see.
It smells so good. What's on the menu today?
Today, I got some fresh collard collard greens stewed up with some coconut milk and some yellow squash.
Okay.
So let's see, we'll get you a little. Make sure we get a little bit of that coconut milk up on there. All that nice broth flavor. And we'll get you another couple pieces of squash. I know how you like your squashes.
I do love squash.
Okay.
I'm gonna sneak a bite while he's
And look at this one sneaking bites over here. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and get our chicken up on there. We'll let you get a little bit extra.
Oh, is there a little heat in that in those collard greens?
Yeah, throw a little chili flakes up in there. You know, you gotta spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, they hit me like right in the back of the throat.
That's what happens if you throw your chili peppers in earlier in the cooking. It has a slower heat and hits you more in the back of the mouth, as opposed to if you add it at the end, then you're gonna taste it like on the front of your tongue.
Okay.
And right away.
Yeah.
As opposed to a slow building heat, which is.
Okay, I'm excited for this. This chicken looks amazing.
Go for it. Attack it.
Oh yeah, that's really good. And the collard greens are really good. Usually we have collard greens for like the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but they're never this healthy.
Nah, it's something good healthy. Like I was saying, you can have them for breakfast with some dumplings. And you get your vegetables, your dumplings in there, you ready to go?
Alright, we'll have to try that.
Fill you up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, this is really good. You did it again, Martin.
Thank you very much. This recipe and more is available on our website, and check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, and y'all have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.